Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. So I believe by now everyone must have heard or seen the video of Lily Thomas, the OnlyFans model who slept with 100 men in one day just to prove a point. And as a result of this, Candace Owens had a conversation with her, and this is how everything went down, you guys.
So I told you that last week I sat down with Lily Phillips. That's the young lady from the United Kingdom who is resolved to sleep with 1,000 men in less than 24 hours to break a record. So we're going to discuss that, and I'm going to show you portions of our conversation now that it has premiered. All right, where to begin? Let's just begin with the Guinness Book of World Record in general. I don't know if you know this, there are over 65,000 world records that are captured in the Guinness Book of World Records. In 2023, 4,975 records were approved. And I have to tell you guys, when I was young, and I'm sure you remember this too, I was quite mesmerized by it all. Like there's the concept when you see how this person holds the Guinness Book of World Records. I was like, wow, could you just imagine just being the best at something worldwide? Like no one else is better than you at this thing. I'm going to give you a couple of facts about how it works to give you a little refresher, or maybe you've never even thought about it, because I think many people wonder, well, what do you earn? What do you actually win? How much money do you get if you do break or hold a record worldwide? And the answer to that question is exactly $0. Despite there being over 153 million Guinness Book World Record books that are sold worldwide, the actual record holders don't get a single thing other than the right to say, I am a record holder. I am the best in the world. What is the criteria, you might be wondering? Like, what is it? Sports? What is singing? What is it? Honestly, anything that you can think of. If you can think it up and be the best at it, not even the best, really just the only, then you can be awarded, or at least have the title and tell people that you're that person. Some random records. There's a guy named Tyler Phillips. He pogo sticked over 5 cars. Now, is he the best at pogo sticking over 5 cars? I'm going to go with no, probably not. He's just the only one that thought to do it. And contact the Guinness Book of World Record offices about it. I'm sure if LeBron James really put his mind to it, he might be able to crush Tyler Phillips. There's also a man named Zhang Shuang. He is a record holder because he pulled a car 50 meters while walking on his hand. I don't know if that really makes him the best at anything. I think that is one of the only. He just happens to be a person who thought, I'm going to do this random thing and be the only at it. Then there are more passive record holders, people that aren't really athletic at all, like a woman named Lee Redmond. She holds the world record for the longest fingernails. Guess how long? Guess. 28 feet and 4.5 inches. Again, does that make her the best, or does that really just make her peculiar and somewhat gross? I think it's peculiar, and I think it's somewhat gross, because I just would not want to have fingernails that are 28 feet long. So what is it that motivates these people? If you're not motivated by money, then these people are obviously just motivated by the notoriety. And there's no finer modern example of the trappings of notoriety than a young woman named Lily Phillips. I told you a bit about her. She is indeed from England. I also want to remind you that she is just 23 years old, and she is you guessed it, Instagram model. Instagram model, this kind of new age of modeling. And she is desiring to break one of these obscure world records. And she's willing to defile herself and willing to go against basic principles of morality, because I'm certain that prior to her engaging in this, no one had really thought up how many men can one sleep with in one day. That's what she's thinking about. She wants to know how many men she can have sex with in one day, and she's going for 1,000. Now you might be going, why 1,000? Surely no one's gotten close to that. Actually, someone has. The existing record was set in Warsaw, Poland, back in 2004. I was kind of hoping it would be a random Polish girl that did this, but it wasn't. Of course, it's an American girl. Her name is Lisa Sparks. She is a porn star from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and she managed to sleep with 919 men in a single day. She set the record at the 3rd annual World Gangbang Championship in Warsaw. You're like me, you're going, I didn't know that there was a world gang bang championship in Warsaw, Poland, but there is. And she went out and did that. And she competed against 2 other women who wanted to achieve this level of notoriety. And she won by 21 men, with each person that she was involved with sexually being allowed 45 seconds with her. And I gotta tell you this, the update on this is that on her website, she confessed, she said this, quote, "To be completely transparent with you all, this event is the one thing I regret doing in the 21 plus years in the porn industry to this day. This was also the only job I agreed to perform strictly for the money." They say hindsight is 2020, but I'd like to think that maybe as women, we could have the foresight to recognize that sleeping with 919 men in one day is going to be something that you deeply regret. And at least that was kind of what I wanted to speak to Lily Phillips about. I'm not really interested, I told you guys this yesterday, in this whole like outrage culture and screaming and calling each other names. I do think the right is starting to behave like the left, and there's no learning in any of it when we're just being outraged and screaming. Like, obviously what Lily Phillips is doing is wrong. Me screaming about how wrong that is isn't really going to change her desires any, but having a conversation with her, why would I sit down with someone like this? It's important for other young ladies to hear this in this world where people are just so mesmerized by the trappings of fame. And it's not fame, of course, that they're after, it's infamy. So for Lily Phillips to beat this record, just to be clear, if you're like me and maybe the math isn't mathing instantly, she's going to have sex with a man every 86.4 seconds for 24 hours straight. And that includes breaks to go to the bathroom, presumably, if she wants to eat something. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't want to think through the logistics, but it works out to 86.4 seconds. She's got to have a guy. And they're preparing for this day, interviewing the guys, the scumbags are going to line up to do this. And in further preparation, Lily decided to do a test trial with 100 men in one day. She's like, okay, I'm going to do 1/10 of it. And she invited documentary makers to capture the big feat because I don't know what she was imagining. I'm assuming she was just like, I'm breaking a record. It's going to be great. And I want to show you this clip that has gone viral. I should have covered this last week, but I was feeling sick, and you're going to definitely hear me sounding sick as I'm speaking with her. But again, these are the moments. The cameras went right in and asked her how she felt about accomplishing 100 men in one day. And what they captured, in my view, is the real Lily. Raw emotions, which would follow any person who is a human being who has just been used and defiled in this way by 100 men. Take a listen.
You guys, what can I say at this point? Some people have actually lost their mind, and if there is anything Lisa Spark will never forget in her life is sleeping with 919 men. Like, how did she survive it? I'm still trying hard to count 919 men standing before her, and I can't come to terms with what I am saying in front of me. People are really, really wide and insane. This world have lost its grip on what is right and celebrating what is wrong. Let me know what you guys think, and let's continue watching, you guys.
It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard.
But
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like, it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
It's not like just having sex with someone.
yeah. Just one in, one out. Like, it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Really?
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
So that right there is the real Lily Phillips. And I want to be clear, this documentary maker, the guy next to her, I think his name is Josh Peters, absolute monster to be documenting that. I mean, you just have to be guided by basic principles of morality. And to see her breaking down like that and to be playing the part as if he's her friend and really wanting to understand, oh, she's a bit overwhelmed right now. Oh, is that shocking for you to hear too, Josh Peters, that this 23-year-old young woman who's making a massive mistake and you're, instead of trying to guide her away from it, wanting to capture it. But that's her. That raw emotion is the real Lily Phillips. And it made me realize that first and foremost, you are dealing with someone who's incredibly delicate, who is now having to put on a front in front of the world because she wants to make a lot of money. She wants to make a lot of money and she wants to do this quickly. She wants to do this in one day. And in order to have a bunch of men sign up to watch that, they don't want to see her crying. So this is not good. She's got to rebrand it and pretend that she's really into it, that the sex is good and she just loves sex so much and she's super freaky. It reminded me of a conversation that I had with Amber Rose. I can't remember if it actually made its way into our interview or if it was off camera, where she spoke about this, how she'd be dying on the inside being asked to do these things, but knowing that this is what was being demanded of her of the sex industry because guys are buying into this fantasy. And so my job sitting across from Millie Phillips, like I said, wasn't to denigrate her, wasn't to make her feel worse. I'm 35 years old. She is 23 years old. It was truly to try to understand her and to at least get her to admit that she is only doing this because she wants money. And so I asked her really just a basic question. I said, if you're really trying to stress that this is not about money, are you telling me that if Ford Models came to you and offered you $50 million and say, you don't have to know him out, here's $50 million, I just want you to walk down a Victoria's Secret and wear a bikini, you wouldn't take it because you just love the sex so much? And here's what she had to say. Take a listen.
Can you address though what she said? If someone offered you $50 million to never do this or to have never done this, would you have taken the 50 or would you still be like, no, it's something I want to do?
I've always said this. I did this as a hobby before I did it for work. So I was sleeping around and doing these stuff like that before I actually did OnlyFans. I was a lot more promiscuous off camera before I was on camera. And so no, I do this job because I love it so much. And to me, obviously money in every job is a big thing, but it's not about the money for me. It's about
You said you did this to give back to your OnlyFans that afforded your lifestyle. You said that, I think.
no, as in they have really helped me. You know,
But you said you thought me and my
freedom.
assistant
I never
sat
said
in a
anything
room.
about money.
You
Just
said
about
me and
like
my
freedom.
assistant sat in a room and decided that we should do this as a way to give back to the fans that have supported this, this lifestyle that I have.
Me and my assistant was talking, and I was like, I just looked up the world record because I was like, how cool would this be to do? Because obviously it's something that's kind of obviously never been done before. It'd be really unique content. It would also be giving, back to my supporters and stuff like that who have subscribed and, made my life how it is today. I didn't say lifestyle. So as in like this freedom that I have. I love the life that OnlyFans has given me, definitely. And that's not necessarily money.
What freedom has it given to you if it's not money, out of curiosity?
So to be able to work for myself, to be able to do something I love,
Working for yourself, meaning making, right?
Sorry?
Working for yourself as in being able to earn an income by yourself. And
So working for myself to be able to wake up and grab a coffee in the morning and not have to be in a desk at a 9 to 5, to be able to myself and
easy money.
make a living out of it, be able to to be able to support myself, do something that I
that's
love,
money. Just
and be able
so
to
you know, that's all. That's money you're talking about. Like to be able to support yourself.
But I'm not just talking about like money. I'm talking about the freedom this lifestyle has given me.
Money permits freedom. Money
Yeah.
permits freedom.
Yeah, we're just trying to connect the dots there.
So money means you have the freedom to do whatever you can in your life, right? That's what money equals essentially time in this case, right? Because you're saying the freedom to do what you want to do. So the question
this is the thing. I could do OnlyFans and make 20 grand a month and still have the same lifestyle as I do now, than have to go to this extreme and do the 1,000. Like I could. So it's not really like the money thing for me.
Yeah, because now it's about the fame, the infamy, I think, for you. So there it is. It's obvious that this is something that is going to bring her great pain, but she's already pivoted and now she's pretending like she just had a weak moment after 100 men. And this is really what she's always wanted because, as you heard her say, she used to do this for free. She used to give up the goods for free. And we're supposed to imagine that she was sleeping with 1,000 men per day, as if that's clearly, you could be as promiscuous as you want, But no one has ever done that. And so it has to be about something else. Again, she's back to trying to sell the fantasy to men like she's actually into this. And she's not. And that's why it's important to speak to these people, because I think young women look at this as an example. And she's talking about how this is about freedom. Did you hear her? Yeah, sure, she's got to sleep with 1,000 strange men, but she can get a coffee in the morning. And she doesn't have to think about it. She's not stuck at a cubicle from a 9 to 5. So there are some women who are stuck at a cubicle from 9 to 5 and they then get a coffee. She has so much more freedom because she's just going to sleep with 1,000 men, 1,000 strangers in one day. And she doesn't really see that as a form of bondage, or at least the fake Lily, who I was interviewing, the fake Lily doesn't see that. The Lily that was crying obviously very much understood what she was giving up. And it lets you know that buried down deep, she does have a soul. But the more compelling piece of this for me really was learning that her mother is involved in her career. Her mother manages the finances. And when Lily spoke to journalists about this, she described her relationship with her mother and her father as being wholesome, that these were good parents because they were supporting her. I know it's shocking. Take a listen to what she had to say. One of the questions that I certainly had when I was reading into your story was, I think that you kind of tried to portray it like you had this like normal upbringing. And I obviously don't buy that because I have children and I have a daughter, and your mother being involved in this signals to me that you had anything but a normal upbringing, because there's no mother that would spiritually want to see her child violated like that, because that's what it is, whether you perceive it or not. Your mother is watching you or helping you or dealing with the finances of you being violated 100 times in one day. And so I was very disturbed by that more than anything else. Is like I've heard of OnlyFans girls. I've sat down with them, respectfully on the whatever podcast, and a lot of them have stories and they understand that, my mom, my dad, my upbringing didn't do this. It led me to this choice in life, but you don't seem to have recognize your mother's abuse in this, which is quite alarming to me. So I'm just curious about your relationship with her.
I mean, my parents definitely don't describe having as, what did you say? Sorry, abusive or
Violating.
violating.
I don't think it's abusive. I think
She said
your daughter
violating.
being violated 100 times by strangers is abusive.
So my parents don't describe as being violated. They don't really see it in that way. They know I've always been very liberal, and to be honest, my parents, they don't necessarily, they're not coaching me into it. They're not telling me, please keep having these people at all. They're not, they're not really exactly, I wouldn't really say like supportive, but at the end of the day, they love me. And what is it going to do if they disown me, stop talking to me? That would only cause more heartache. So they see it from a standpoint of, my mum does like my finances because she wants to help me. They just want to do what they can to help. It's not so much like if they disown me tomorrow, like I think that would just make everyone more upset.
Are you giving your
No,
mom a
I'm
cut?
not arguing that they should disown you. I mean, I understand like a mother's love for their child. I'm saying that it is unnatural for your mother to be counting the finances that you're earning from having 100 strangers violate you on the internet for cash, And that is the part that there's just no way to normalize that. There's no way to normalize that. I'm a parent. There's no way, like I have a daughter, and the idea of being involved in that, like, it's not saying that if she goes down that path, that you're not going to be there and pray and hope that, she changes, and speak to her about that and say, I'm always going to love you. But I view it as predatory, parental behavior. And I don't think it's fair to even describe it as my parents are liberal. I mean, I'm obviously not a liberal, I'm a conservative, but none of my liberal friends, liberal family members, their parents would view this also as demonic, whether they have faith or not. They would just say, what parent would want that for their child? Because your mother is old enough to understand what the implications are for your future. You already comprehend what the futures are, making it. I get that you turn everything into a joke. I think you do that really to protect yourself as an armor. I don't think you actually think it's funny, but to recognize that like you're a beautiful young girl, and you're never going to have the prospects. You're not going to have a man that wants to have a family with you because they're going to see you as damaged goods. Your mother partaking in that, just so you know, is a form of abuse. It is. It's abusive. And this kind of gets into the broader point, and I think the main takeaway of what's going on with Lily Phillips is that all across the world, we are facing, I think, a crisis of parenthood. Parents that want to be friends with their children, parents that have given into, and I want to be clear, I don't like her confining this and saying, well, this is what liberalism is. Yes, liberals tend to be quite liberal on the sex topic, but even them, I think a bridge too far is 1,000 men in one day. But this is a slippery slope, right? This is the slippery slope of the sex revolution. And it's why I'm very proud of my faith. I think the church got it right. I think things have become increasingly undone in this culture of sex education at school, teaching people that sex is healthy, having multiple partners is healthy. It is why I hate the modern feminist movement, because it leads women to this point of believing that they're going to be empowered the more partners that they have, when in reality, what they're doing is they're decreasing their prospects in the future. And so I think Lily Phillips is an important cultural moment. I think it's good for liberals and conservatives to consider what it is that she's discussing and to realize, I hope, that we have more in common, and to kind of go back and think through the 1970s and the sexual revolution and the indoctrination that children are going through into believing that you're somehow backwards and you're wrong if you want to save yourself from marriage. But what she's doing is totally progressive. And if that's progress, I want to be clear. Send me backwards. I'm archaic. I am totally fine with being considered completely regressive and backwards on this topic of modern feminism. I think it cheapens both women and it cheapens both men. And that's all I'm going to say on the topic of Miss Lily Phillips. Pray for her, truly. Hopefully she will not go through with this, but my guess is that she's too far deep in, and the people that are surrounding her are absolute monsters.
You guys, I totally agreed with Candace Owens on this. Lily Phillips needs our prayer, and I also agree with Candace when she said the people surrounding her are monsters, because at this point I'll say that I feel so sorry for Lily Phillips. Her wanting to break the world record or whatever record to sleep with 1,000 men would be a grave mistake, because she may not even survive it. And I think the porn industry should be banned. And as for OnlyFans, it needs to be shut down with immediate effect, because these sites are not even teaching anything to the younger generation. I love how Candace Owens was so gentle with her, and it was so soothing to watch. I'll say that Candace Owens is a rare gem. A word of advice from me to Miss Lily is that she could die from sleeping with 1,000 men, and I don't think her body can endure this amount of torture. But let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.